Hello and welcome to Treasure in Every Verse. I'm your host, author and Bible teacher, Kevin Madison. Thank you for joining us today. All right, friends, it's good to be back. Hey, we're going to jump right back where we were. We were in Matthew chapter 24 on our way to the book of Revelation to talk about the things that are written therein. And in Matthew 24, we were going over the things that Jesus had said, over the questions that were asked by the disciples. So we started off over in verse number 3, where the disciples came to him and asked him privately 3 questions over in Matthew, 1 question in Mark, 1 question in Luke. And we see that the questions in each one of these gospels are slightly different. Even though Matthew includes the questions asked in Mark and Luke with a slight twist on it, you have to recognize that they were asking about what's going to happen next in Mark and Luke, and then what would happen in the future over in the book of Matthew. And that's why Jesus gave the prophecies the way that he did in each one of those gospels. So we went through that, and then we got to verse 4 and 5, where Jesus started talking about some of the things that's going to happen. And it started talking about, what was happening with the people of Israel. So I took you through several books, especially the book of Joshua, to show you what was happening in that day and what was happening with the Jews and why they were having so many problems. And God says, hey, you can't serve me because I am a holy God, and you don't want to give up your sin. And that's a problem. You can't have both. Then we came here to Daniel to show what the entirety of the book of Revelation is all about. Well, let me rephrase that. From chapter 6 to chapter 19, this is what it's all about. It was given to Daniel by the angel Gabriel from God. And that's exactly what God was explaining through the angel Gabriel to Daniel. So we had started here. We only got halfway through this verse. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you my notes. All right. I'm not going to explain. I'm just going to go through it right quick. We went through the top 3, I believe, top 2. And then I'm going to show you what's going on with the Sabbath. Friends, this is a problem. And if you're thinking it's a small, it's just some Sabbath. No. What is the entirety of the Bible about? Is it about keeping some days? Is it about keeping some feasts? No. Is it about telling you how to live? No, it has nothing to do with none of those things. The Sabbath is a person. So to look at it as if, it's just a Sabbath, is to say, it's just some man Jesus. Folks, the Sabbath is Jesus. Christ is the rest that God gives to everyone to keep us from working to try to get salvation. If you're going to get salvation, you have to get it through God's Sabbath. The first Sabbath in the Bible, was it man's Sabbath? No. There's a reason why it was not man's Sabbath. Why? Because man had nowhere to rest. Either he's going to rest in God's Sabbath, or he's going to work to get his own rest. And he's never going to find it. Why? Because sin doesn't offer any rest. All it offers is the wrath of a holy God. All right. So 70 weeks of years. Where do we get that from? You get it out of the Old Testament. We're in the Old Testament. You get it out of the book of, out of the law, out of Leviticus and Deuteronomy. That's where you get it. That's where this is defined. And that's where we're going to go. And I'm going to show you that. I showed you where this prophecy came from. I showed you in the book of Jeremiah that Jeremiah said it first. God used it through Jeremiah. Then That prophecy is recorded again over in 2 Chronicles chapter 36. So God has two witnesses. Now, here it is. 17 weeks of years equals the 7-year sabbatical year. All right? And listen, folks, please don't walk over this. It is determined. Can it be changed? Not unless you are greater than God. Can I pray it away? Not unless God changes his mind, and he won't. Can everyone get saved to where this won't happen? No. Why not? Because God has determined that it must come to pass. It's already prophesied, friends. So you can pray until you pass away. You are not going to change what God has already determined. And he will never answer that kind of prayer. Oh, he'll answer it. He'll just tell you, no, absolutely not. And it is determined for who's your? Daniel. Daniel's people. Who are Daniel's people? Israel. And for your, Daniel's holy city. What is that? Jerusalem. To finish something. To finish something, yes. Finish what was determined. The 70 weeks. 70 weeks about what? Finish it about what? The transgression. What's the transgression? They didn't keep the sabbatical year for the land. I'm going to explain that. I'm going to show you it. Man, I don't have to explain it because when I show it to you in the Bible, it is very self-explanatory. Okay? Then he says to make an end of sins. What's the problem? You mean just any kind of sin? No, friends. Read it the way God wrote it. Don't let your mind wander. Please don't read the Bible that way. And we do it a lot. I still do it. I have to catch myself doing this and say, hey, no, Kevin, that's not what God said. All right. What's the context? The context is Daniel is praying because he just read a prophecy in the book of Jeremiah. He has a book of Jeremiah. He's reading it. What did he come across? He came across the section where God, through Jeremiah, said, hey, after 70 years, you Jews are going to be allowed to go back to your land. So Daniel noticed that, and immediately he started praying, asking God to keep his promise. Now, if it had been year 68, and Daniel would have prayed that prayer, would God have answered it? No, not immediately. He would have answered it though in 2 years. Why? Because the 70 years are up. Now, 70 weeks of years. We know it's years because it's talking about the land. To finish the transgression. To make it into sin. What was the sins that they were committing, and why were they committing those sins? The sins were the idol worshiping. And it was the idol worship that caused them to be disobedient against the law. Had they not been worshiping idols, they would have been worshiping the one true God. Had they been worshiping the right God, the one true God, the God of Israel, they wouldn't have been disobedient against the law. What law? To keep the land Sabbaths. Keep it in context. To keep the land Sabbaths. The sins is the fact that they had 70 years of not keeping the Sabbaths. That was the problem. It just kept repeating over and over and over again. And God got fed up with it and said, forget it. The land needs its rest. I'm going to kick you out of it. Then the next step, to make reconciliation for iniquity. Payment, reconciliation, for the iniquity. So reconciliation for sin. They needed a payment. When God kicked them out of the land, all right, this is bigger than just God kicking them out of the land resting. This right here, friends, this is where I'm at. Look, this is bigger than just kicking them out of the land. Let me show you what it is. Look at what's happening right here, okay? So, the reconciliation and the payment is for the sins of them, all the things that they were doing. So, when God goes and he starts getting the reconciliation for that, what does he do? You have to go back to Leviticus chapter 26 and all the curses that comes for the iniquity of the idol worship they were doing. Go back and read that chapter and you're going to see exactly what God was talking about. We don't have time to do it today, but that's what he's talking about. Worshiping idols led them to be disobedient to against the Sabbath, but it also led to other sowing and reaping. Because they were sowing the worshiping of idols, they were reaping all those curses that's in Leviticus chapter 26. And friends, that list is horrible. Horrible.